gonna go write a million songs if that's the way to be. I'll write a classic to beat them all and go down in history. I'll be the one to reach the stars, but only if you're with me tonight, 'cause that'll be the life. I'm gonna go write a million songs if that's the way to be. I'll write a classic to beat them all and go down in history. I'll be the one to reach the stars, but only if you're with me tonight, 'cause that'll be the life. 'Cause that'll be the life. 'Cause that'll be the life.
Hello again and welcome to episode 46 of Main Street Martin and our late summer 2024 week in Malta, staying in the coastal resort of Sliema. And this time, amongst other places, we visit Mosta, Malta's ancient capital Mdina, as well as the islands of Gozo and Comino. In previous episodes, some of the places we've been to have included Walt Disney World, Disneyland Paris, various other theme parks in the United States and Europe, as well as other holidays in Mexico, Portugal and Spain. We've cruised on various princess ships, which have provided Mediterranean cruise series in places like Marseille, Rome, Naples and Athens. Don't forget you can still check out all of the previous episodes right here, and if you enjoy any of them, please make sure you click on the like button, ring the notification bell to be informed of any future episodes, and it would really help the channel if you can subscribe. So in this episode, we're taking a morning catamaran excursion as part of our I See Malta Leisure Plus Pass to the small but stunning island of Gozo, where you can explore the ancient temples, the oldest freestanding structures in the world, and marvel at the views from the Citadel, a fortified city that dates back to the Bronze Age. While on the island, you may choose to dive into the crystal clear waters of the bays, where you can also swim through natural arches and see the famous fungus rock, or maybe just soak up the sun on the sandy beaches and enjoy the local cuisine and culture. One thing's for sure, Gozo is a joy to discover and a perfect escape from the hustle and bustle of everyday life. Now, we had a limited time on the island before leaving for Comino, so we were only able to do so much. So we've not decided yet what we're going to do here, because we only have about 3 hours before we have to get back for the boat to the catamaran to Comino. So we're going to have a look around here in the port area first, because up there looks absolutely stunning. Once you arrive on the island, all roads lead to the Citadel in Rabat, also known as Victoria. It's a small fortified town that has seen a lot of history and offers a glimpse into medieval times. But first, we stopped off here at the Church of Our Lady of Lourdes with its magnificent view over the port. Now, there have been settlements on the same hill in Rabat since the Neolithic period, but the fortress was constructed in the 15th century. Archaeologists have discovered evidence that the site was fortified during the Bronze Age, around 1500 BC. The Phoenicians and the Romans added their share of temples and buildings. The Aragonese period saw the citadel take the shape we know today, with improvements carried out by the Order of the Knights between 1599 and 1603 to withstand and provide shelter against the Ottoman incursions. Like the island of Malta, Gozo has plenty of churches to explore, including the Church of St Francis of Assisi and the St George's Basilica.
So just to give you some information, the island of Gozo is just a short ferry ride away, but you could do what we did and actually take an excursion, which includes the hop-on, hop-off bus in Malta, and this trip today, which also takes us Camino, which we're going on to next. We only had a couple of hours really here, because we got here as part of the excursion and were picked up again in about 3 hours from when we docked to go on to Camino. So we just came to Victoria, and as you can see, the basilica here is absolutely stunning.
Next, we return to the catamaran to go to Comino, Malta's third largest island, situated between Malta and Gozo. Comino is known to have been inhabited by farmers during Roman times, and the knights used the island as hunting and recreational grounds. There are a few things to do here. St Mary's Tower is the most visible structure on the island, with a history dating back to 1416. You could also visit St Mary's Battery, Comino Chapel, or any of the various parts of the island used in movies. But as we only had a couple of hours again, we enjoyed the famous Blue Lagoon. It's an area between the islands of Comino and Cominoto, and is beautiful with its crystal clear blue waters and stunning scenery. The picturesque lagoon is one of Malta's most popular attractions, and as you can see, it gets very, very busy, especially as it's mostly rocky with just 2 small sandy beaches. But there are also swim-through caves, and it's an ideal place for swimming, snorkeling and exploring.
Very enjoyable couple of hours at the Blue Lagoon on Camino. It is very busy, lots of boats bringing people in, and when you get up to the side of the hill there, plenty of places to eat and drink. There are toilets up there as well, but as you can see, it's very, very crowded.
The following day we made use of the hop-on hop-off bus again, this time taking the north route to the ancient capital Mdina, but stopping off in Mosta, a small city with a rich history. It's been inhabited since prehistory, in fact. Dolmens in the limits of Mosta and cart ruts are primary evidence of this. Each dolmen has 2 rectangular standing stones and 1 other similar stone positioned horizontally above the other 2. In the Middle Ages, Mosta was a small hamlet amongst a number of other hamlets, each sparsely populated. Our first stop was here, the Malta Experience. It's an audio-visual show that tells the dramatic story of the island's 7,000-year history. Placed in a purpose-built panoramic auditorium, the show chronicles Malta's unique history in around 45 minutes. And that's followed by a fascinating tour of La Sacra Infermeria, the Holy Infirmary of the Knights of St. John, which has seen over 400 years of human history as generations of patients have passed through its doors. The ancient walls have witnessed triumph and tragedy, selfless care and unspeakable suffering, medical innovation and sad decay. By 1787, the various wards of the infirmary here accommodated no less than 563 beds, a number which could be increased in times of emergency to 914. It's a 155-metre long room with its magnificent timber ceiling and is known as the Great Ward and was once the longest hospital ward in Europe.
So the infirmary tour was really interesting, but was made by the guide. And outside, we're just waiting for the hop-on, hop-off bus. And while we do, just taking a look around here, which is just incredible. Much of Malta reminds me of Rhodes, and Rhodes town in particular, and also Lindos, which I guess is pretty straightforward to understand really because of the Knights of St. John. But it just blows you away to see so much history, and despite all of the battles and the world wars that have been fought since then, much of it has been maintained. So these arches are what was an aqueduct carrying water to the nearby towns and villages.
Our next stop was here in Mosta. We headed straight for the most prominent building in the city, the Rotunda, a large basilica built voluntarily by its parishioners. It features the world's third largest unsupported dome and displays a replica of a German bombshell that famously crashed through the dome but didn't detonate on impact. The church is dedicated to the Assumption. In fact, the Feast of the Assumption is held on the 15th of August and is a public holiday in Malta. It's popular with both locals and tourists as the city is decorated by the residents to demonstrate their affection for the city and its patron saint, weeks ahead of the public procession.
So the first thing you do when you get inside is to head to the top. and it's a long way.
From its inception as a parish in 1608, Mosta has had 3 different churches built on this same site, with the current one being designed by Giorgio Gronier de Vassé, a French resident of Mosta. His design was based on the Pantheon of Rome. The very first stone was laid on the 30th of May 1833, and it took 27 years to complete the building, which then became a major attraction. And when you get to the top of those many steps, you can go inside and view the impressive dome from a balcony before heading downstairs to see it from the ground floor. On the 9th of April 1942, the church was nearly destroyed during World War II. An Axis bomb hit the dome of the church whilst people were inside, but it failed to explode. The detonator was removed and a replica bomb is now displayed as a memorial. Next, we visited the World War II air raid shelters that are situated beneath the church. It's been set out as it would have been during World War II, and the complex also boasts an exhibition of tools and implements related to old trades.
So the air raid shelter runs pretty much around the front circle of this, the rotunda. So you go in on this side and you come up on that side. Another place, if you come to Malta, you should come and see. The town itself is beautiful as well. Really interesting architecture.
Next, we boarded the bus again to head off on the 20-minute journey to Mdina, which served as the island's former capital from antiquity to the medieval period. The walled city is one of Malta's most popular tourist destinations, and it's easy to see why. Sitting on top of the hill overlooking large parts of Malta, it's a fortified medieval town enclosed in bastions, small but rich in history. It's filled with centuries-old buildings that have been well maintained throughout the ages. Wandering through its narrow streets and alleys, Mdina genuinely feels like history coming to life. You may also recognise its main entrance, which features in the popular TV series Game of Thrones.
Nice gardens where the moat used to be. And look at this impressive gateway.
Wherever you go in Mdina, you'll find stately buildings, built at various points in the history of the city and featuring distinct architectural designs from different periods. At its heart, you'll find the imposing St. Paul's Cathedral and its small square in front. With all the noise of everyday life in the busier parts of Malta, the silence inside the city's walls is very noticeable and really adds to the magic of the city itself, as well as its panoramic views out over the island. As well as the cathedral and its museum, you may want to check out the bastions, the Natural History Museum, the Archbishop's Palace. In fact, there are a number of notable houses and palaces, including Palazzo Falson, generally known as the Norman House. This is the best preserved medieval building in Mdina. Built in 1495, it was occupied by the first Grand Master in Malta when the knights arrived here in 1530. This is the Carmelite church and priory, the only priory open to the general public in Malta. It's set in a 17th century Baroque building and has undergone important and significant restoration, which means it can now finally open its doors to the viewing public. Among a number of rooms to explore, the quarters include a beautiful frescoed refectory, which is a definite highlight of a visit to this place. It's where the friars congregate for communal meals and is a rare example of the Baroque concept of the total work of art, where painting, sculpture and architecture come together. Regular events are actually held in the refectory as well, with the proceeds going towards the restoration of the paintings and the breathtaking ceiling of the room, which is a masterpiece of ornamentation.
Però mi piace il fatto che appartenesse a Priory Carmelite.
If you have time, you might want to explore the village that's located on Mdina's doorstep, once considered to be its suburb. It's called Rabat, a typical Maltese town with a few key museums and points of interest, including the Busquet Gardens, the entrance to which can be found on the outskirts of Rabat. And that's it for now, but make sure you join me next time for the final part of our series in Malta, when amongst other things we explore the city of Vittoriosa. In the meantime, take a look at the other videos on the channel featuring Caribbean and Mediterranean cruises, plus our visits to eco parks and theme parks in Mexico, the United States and Europe. And you'll also find city breaks in the UK and Europe, as well as short breaks providing top tips, hints and ideas. If you enjoy any of the videos here, you can really help the channel by clicking on the like button, ringing that notification bell and subscribing. And I hope you can join me next time for episode 47 of Main Street Martin.
I'm gonna go write a million songs if that's the way to be. I'll write a class to beat them all and go down in history. I'll be the one to reach the stars, but only if you're with me tonight.